Okay. So have you ever actually stood there and watched someone making pottery?
I've seen it, yeah.
It's kind of mesmerizing, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Like I could watch those wheels spin all day.
It's pretty cool how they can, like, just form that clay. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah,
And it looks so effortless.
totally.
But then I got to thinking about the whole process, right?
Hmm?
Because it's not just about shaping the clay, is it?
No, not even
There's a
close.
whole bunch of steps that come after that.
Oh, yeah, there's a whole bunch of stuff that has to happen before that clay even sees the inside of a kiln.
Exactly. And one of the most crucial but often overlooked stages is drying. And that's what we are diving into today using this RoleCatcher.com research.
Yeah, this is a good one.
Yeah.
Lots of cool info here.
Right, like I had no idea how much science and skill goes into drying clay properly.
Oh, it's not just about leaving it out in the sun to dry, that's for sure.
You got that right.
Uh,
And that's where the unsung hero of the ceramics world comes in,
yeah.
the clay products dry kiln operator.
The kiln operator, they're like the guardians of the drying process, making sure everything dries evenly and doesn't crack or warp.
Because that shrinkage thing is no joke, right?
Seriously. As the water evaporates from the clay, the whole structure shrinks. And if it's not controlled just right,
You end up with a big old mess.
pretty much warping, cracking, or even worse, the whole thing could just crumble.
So the kiln operator, they're like the conductor of the drying orchestra, making
Mhm.
sure all the instruments are in tune.
I like that analogy. They've got to monitor the temperature, humidity, airflow, it's all connected.
And just like an orchestra playing different pieces of music, the kiln operator has to adjust all those settings based on the type of clay and what they're making, right?
Exactly. A delicate porcelain teacup needs a totally different drying schedule than a big, sturdy garden gnome.
That makes sense. I guess I kind of always assumed that the whole process was automated by now,
Yeah, that's a common misconception.
like robots carefully controlling every little detail.
Robots are definitely playing a bigger role these days, but they haven't replaced the human eye just yet.
Especially when it comes to something as, I don't know, as intuitive as clay drying.
Exactly.
So what does that balance between like high tech and human experience actually look like in a real kiln operation?
So imagine this. You walk into a room and it's filled with rows and rows of shelves. And these shelves are just packed with clay creations in all different stages of drying.
Okay, it's like a clay zoo in here. I'm already intrigued.
And the air, it's thick with humidity, but it's a very specific kind of humidity. And you've got gauges and monitors everywhere you look. You've got your hygrometers keeping tabs on the moisture levels, thermometers for the heat, and even anemometers for the airflow.
Wow, so it's like a carefully controlled climate in there.
Oh, absolutely. It's all about creating the perfect drying environment. And that's where the kiln operator comes in. They're the ones constantly monitoring all those readings, making sure everything stays within those precise ranges.
It all makes sense now. I was looking back at that RoleCatcher.com guide,
Hmm.
and it says that 52% of the job is operations monitoring.
Yeah, they're basically conducting a symphony of drying.
So it's not like they just stick the clay in there and press a button.
No way. It's this constant dance between, like you said, that human experience and technical know-how.
It's like they develop this sixth sense for what the clay needs.
They can tell just by looking at it, is it drying too fast? Too slow? Is there a problem with the airflow in a certain area? They're always thinking 10 steps ahead.
So what happens if they miss something? What if, like, the alarm bells aren't going off, but something's not quite right?
Let's just say you don't want to be around when that happens. We're talking warping, cracking, and in some cases, even explosions.
Explosions. Okay, now you're just messing with me.
I'm totally serious. If the moisture content is too high when that clay hits the kiln boom,
Okay, that's officially terrifying. But also kind of cool when you think about how much power is behind this seemingly simple process.
right. And it all comes down to that kiln operator. They're the ones who keep everything running smoothly and prevent those claytastrophers from happening.
They really are the unsung heroes of the ceramic world, huh?
They really are. And you know what else is cool about this job?
What's that?
It's not a dead end. Like, there's an actual career path you can follow in the world of clay drying.
A career path, huh? Now we're talking my language. Tell me more.
So it's not just about being a kiln operator for life. You can actually move up the ranks. Like, you could become a senior kiln operator.
Being your kiln operator has a nice ring to it.
Right. And then from there, you could even move into, like, a kiln technician role.
Oh, so that's where the real tech skills come in, right?
Yeah, they're the ones who really know the ins and outs of all the equipment. Like, if there's a really weird problem with the kiln, they're the ones who get called in to fix it.
The kiln whispers.
Totally. They can diagnose a problem just by listening to the hum of the machinery.
I love it. Okay, but what about like someone who's not just content with fixing things? What if they want to run the whole show?
Well, there's always the management track. You could become a supervisor or even a production manager overseeing a whole team of kiln operators.
So there's really something for everyone in the world of clay drying. Who knew?
Right. And here's the thing that really surprised me.
Hit me with it.
Even with all this talk about automation taking over jobs, and let's be real, robots are getting pretty sophisticated these
They're
days.
coming for us.
I know, right? But even with all that, the demand for skilled kiln operators isn't going anywhere anytime soon.
Really? But why not? I mean, I was listening to you describe that whole process with all the gauges and the constant monitoring, and I was thinking, a robot could totally do that.
And you're not wrong. Like, technically, a lot of those tasks could be automated. But what the RoleCatcher.com guide emphasized was that human expertise is still going to be crucial in the foreseeable future.
So it's not a case of robots replacing humans, but rather robots and humans, like teaming up.
Bingo! It's all about leveraging the strengths of both.
Okay, I'm liking where this is going. Tell me more.
So you might have robots taking over some of those more, like, repetitive tasks, like maybe monitoring the temperature and adjusting the airflow, but you'll still need a human there to keep an eye on things, make sure everything's running smoothly.
Because robots can't really improvise, can they? Like if something unexpected happens, they don't have that human instinct to troubleshoot on the fly.
That's exactly it. Like, every batch of clay is a little different, you know. There might be slight variations in the moisture levels, or maybe the humidity in the air changes unexpectedly. A human operator can pick up on those subtle cues and make adjustments as needed.
It's that experience factor, right? That sixth sense that you develop from working with clay day in and day out.
Precisely. Robots are great at following instructions, but when it comes to those judgment calls, you need a human brain that can analyze the situation and make the right decision.
So it's really that adaptability, that problem-solving ability that's going to set human kiln operators apart in this increasingly automated world.
100%. And you know what's cool about all this?
What's that?
This whole shift towards automation, it's not just a challenge, it's an opportunity.
An opportunity.
For who? For anyone interested in becoming a kiln operator. Like, think about it. You're not just learning a trade, you're getting in on the ground floor of a technological revolution.
So instead of being afraid of the robots, you're saying we should embrace them, learn how to work with them.
Exactly. It's about evolving your skill set so that you're not just operating a kiln, you're managing a complex system that involves both human and artificial intelligence.
That's actually a really exciting way to look at it.
Mhm.
So for anyone out there who loves problem solving, has a head for technology, but also appreciates the art of craftsmanship.
This could be the perfect career path.
It's funny, right? Because when I think craftsmanship, I usually picture like, handmade stuff,
Yeah.
not robots and high-tech sensors and all that.
It's a wild world out there, though, right? Like, who knew drying clay was so high tech? And honestly, I think this whole thing kind of speaks to a bigger issue.
Oh, what's that?
The whole robots taking over our jobs thing.
Yeah, that old chestnut. Everyone's favorite topic of existential dread.
Right. But what we're seeing here with the kiln operator, it's not just about replacement, it's more like evolution.
Okay, so instead of robots coming for our jobs, they're just, making them more complicated.
In a way, yeah. Think about it. A good kiln operator, they always had to know their stuff.
Like the science of drying, the different types of clay, all that.
Exactly. But now on top of that, they got to be tech savvy too.
So it's like a double whammy of expertise. You got to be a clay whisperer and a tech wizard.
Pretty much. Which honestly makes those skills even more valuable, don't you think?
Absolutely. It's like this weird paradox. The more tech we have, the more we still need those specialized human skills.
100%. And that kind of brings us back to that RoleCatcher.com guide. Remember that interview question we talked about?
The one about troubleshooting the kiln. Yeah, what about it?
It's not just about knowing the answer, right? It's about showing you've got that deeper understanding.
Like you're not just blindly following a checklist. You actually get why those temperature and humidity levels matter.
Exactly. That's what employers are looking for, someone who can think critically, adapt to new situations, that whole 9 yards.
Because even in a world of fancy robots, it's still those human skills that really make a difference.
No doubt. And honestly, I think that's the biggest takeaway from all this.
All right, lay it on me. What's the big takeaway? The thing we should all remember, even if we forget everything else.
Don't be afraid to learn new things. The world is changing fast, but that just means there are even more opportunities out there.
So embrace the robots, embrace the tech, and never stop learning.
Now you're getting it. That's how you stay ahead of the game.
Well, there you have it, folks. Who knew there was so much to discover in the world of clay drying?
Right. And we didn't even get into all of it.
It's a hidden world of skill, science, and maybe even a glimpse into the future of, well, everything.
You know, it really makes you think.
It does. So until next time, keep those brains buzzing, and remember, the future is full of surprises, and maybe a few exploding kilns.
You just had to sneak that in there, didn't you?
What can I say? Exploding things are kind of my jam. But seriously, thanks for joining us on this deep dive. Until next time.